Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own struggles as a former patient of almost 20 years having borderline personality disorder. I talk about schizophrenia, narcissism, post-traumatic stress disorder, panic attacks, anxiety, and a plethora of other mental health topics. But I only come on as a former patient. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot give you a professional opinion. I can only talk about my own personal struggles as a former patient. So, if you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please subscribe. I only ask one favor of everyone. Please be kind in the comments. Be kind to me. Be kind to other people who comment. Be kind to yourself. We can disagree, but we need to respect each other and we need to be kind. Think before you write, okay? Ask yourself, is this going to hurt someone? If it is, then don't type it. Now, I'm going to update you about where everyone, if you looked at my past videos, it's been now 2.5 years since my son was brutally beaten by my handicapped son. My son is an invalid. He's 28, but he has the mind of a 2-year-old because he was stricken down with pneumococcal meningitis. He was in the hospital for 2 years. He almost died. He was in a coma. There's a whole other videos surrounding that. And of course, because he needs round-the-clock care, he can't bathe, he can't feed himself, he can't go to the bathroom. He's in a residential program. And he was brutally beaten by a staff member there, and that's in the court system. Now, at the same time that he was brutally beaten, Dr. Richard Geist, a renowned Harvard psychologist, maybe a lot of you have heard of him, has really horrifically been unethical and has hurt me. And I did many videos around what happened, and I went to the licensing board over him. Now, these two events happened at the exact same time, which makes it horrific because I had no friends, and the one person that I did go to lean on, which was my psychologist of 16 years, profoundly let me down. Now it's been over a year since, and the board is still, and that's still, he's still on trial with the board, as well as the monster. I don't want to use the word man because he's not human. The monster who brutally beat up my handicapped son, that's still on trial. So both, as you know, the courts go very slow, and it takes, sometimes it can take years for things to get settled. Why I wanted to give this update is because, I've gotten nowhere with either one. Justice has not been served. Let's put it this way. It's very hard for a woman, I'm not like a rich, famous person, to go up against an establishment like Harvard University, a renowned psychologist like Dr. Richard Geist, or to go up against a man, and I'm a woman, even though he brutally beat my son, he's still not behind bars. So I feel pretty defenseless. Have you ever felt defenseless? I was broken before this happened, but now I'm completely shattered over it. It's a horrible thing to go through life feeling defenseless, like you have no recourse. You have, these videos and the books that I've written are the only recourse I have to get my story out there. Now, there was another psychologist who, I can't use the R word. It rhymes with tape, who taped me. I looked up this morning before I did this that you can't say that R word on YouTube. Otherwise, they'll take your video down. They won't allow you to talk about. And women have been, it's so sad that women can't use words like that because they can't get validation for what happened to them. But the only way for me to get this out here, my message, is, I have to go around, play around and not use proper terminology, English the right correct word, really. But that's their rules. And if you're on there, their spot, you gotta play their games and all that, and I hate it. I'd rather just come on and talk frank with you, because that's the type of person I am. But but it won't allow me to do that. But anyway, both psychologists, the one who taped me, rhymes with tape, and Dr. Richard Geist broke their Hippocratic oath, their oath that they took. They were doctors. They're both doctors. And they were supposed to protect me. I went to them for my mental health because, I was severely abused, beaten, and tortured as a young child. I had a schizophrenic father, a narcissistic mother, and that's all in the other videos. So I went to these professional doctors for help, and they used and abused me. And, almost 3 years later, 2.5 years later, and, it's still, it hasn't been resolved. They still haven't taken his license away. I mean, they haven't dismissed it. But, and Dr. James Bararia, the one that assaulted, the one that invaded me, it's equal to incest, okay, what he did to me, because we did not meet like at a bar or a yoga studio or, on Tinder. I went to him, he was on my insurance panel. I was looking up for mental health because I needed help desperately. And he took advantage of his power as a doctor and, exploited me, and basically it's equal to incest. Now, Dr. Richard Geist, he brainwashed me into thinking that it was an equal relationship. See, they all play mind games, all right? They play mind games. And this is really, I try to get this across in what I'm going through because neither one is resolved. I have not got justice, only for Dr. James Bararia. I went to the licensing board with him in 2016. Filed a complaint. He died before that. Before they it went to trial, or before he was forced to surrender his license. He died at 62. So he died an innocent man because he was never found guilty because it didn't go to trial. But I did get a large settlement from him. But that's just money. He still died, an innocent man. I mean, he died a hero in a lot of people's eyes, which really, it really bothers me that people don't realize what he was. If he had lived, he would have had to given up his license. Then people, it does matter. It really does matter to me that justice is served, because without justice, I don't feel empowered. If someone has done something, I can't let it go because justice is not served. I am, I'm just, a woman who's struggling every day of her life. I struggle. I struggle to get out of bed. I don't sleep at night. I'm up all night thinking. I didn't sleep at all last night. I don't sleep. I still drink 2 glasses of wine a day. At least I'm not drinking like 4 or 5 vodka drinks. I mean, I try very hard, but it's difficult. It's difficult to have these two things going on, and I have no one to talk to. I have no apps, zero. Just my husband. But, my husband is struggling too because it's his son. He's struggling with the same thing. So it's like we're both in the lifeboat, out in the ocean in a big storm. So it's like, you know what I mean? Even though I have him, he's in that little lifeboat with me and in a raging sea. So it's like I have no one outside of that, outside of that lifeboat, outside of that, I have no one else is coming to save us, I have no one I can turn to, absolutely no one. It's really devastating. I don't know how to, say, it's devastating. I'm completely shattered. Before I was broken, I'm completely shattered. It's hard for me to go up against an establishment like Harvard University, to go up against a renowned psychologist like Dr. Richard Geist. People don't understand, that he's really, a horrible, horrible, unethical person. He brainwashed me so badly. For 16 years, he brainwashed me. He coaxed me into having this thing with Dr. James Bararia, who is, Dr. James Bararia not only invaded my body, but he pushed me around, he spit in my face, he swore and cussed at me. He emotionally damaged me. He emotionally damaged my family. I can't tell you to the extent of what he did. Because I can't tell you because there's other people I have to protect who don't want it known. Okay? So if someone tells me, I don't want you speaking about what happened to me, I can't go on, and I have to respect that person's privacy. So I can't even let you know the full extent of the damage they did, because I have to respect the privacy of the person who said, I don't want you talking about it publicly. Someone in my family. But it's just horrific. It's horrific. I've mentioned it in other videos, how these therapists play these mind games, They see someone who has borderline personality disorder, an attractive woman, and they try to sexually take advantage of me. I talked about the one on the phone who tried to have phone sex with me, William Cates Jr., who was trying to force me to have phone sex with him while I'm crying on the phone. Dr. James Bararia, who, forced me, he put his tongue in, he forced me to have an unethical relationship with him. And then Dr. Richard Geist, who brainwashed me into believing that this was a relationship of equals. That's what he said. His exact words were, you're equally responsible for what happened. And people came and told me, no, you're not. And you weren't in a relationship. I mean, I've had professional people tell me that. A woman I was friendly with on LinkedIn, Dr. Carol, she told me that, how badly I was abused, And here is Dr. Richard Geist telling me that, I can't go to the board. They try to silence me. You can't go to the board. He's telling me what I can and can't do. You will destroy his life. And now, I'm waiting and waiting for both cases with my son, the monster who brutally beat my handicapped invalid son. Imagine an invalid who can't, bathe himself, feed himself, or go to the bathroom, brutally beaten by someone who is supposed to, a staff who's supposed to take care of him. All right? That's 2 counts of a felony. It's still in the courts. Oh, 2.5 years later, it's not resolved. And Dr. Richard Geis is still going through the system. It's still not resolved with the board. They haven't dismissed it. They haven't said he's innocent. They have not dismissed it. But it's still in the works. Do you know what I'm saying? It has not been resolved. And it's like every night I can't sleep, It's just horrific, until I get justice for both of these cases that happened both together. I mean, it's bad enough to have, one of these things happen, but they happen together. And all I'm looking for is justice. And it does matter, It does. It doesn't change anything, but at least when you get justice, you feel validated. When someone has harmed you, and done wrong, by getting justice, by having that person in prison, or by having that other person have their license taken away, it doesn't, take away the pain that they caused. But it validates, it does validate you. You do feel empowered that, they didn't walk away free from the severe pain and trauma. My son is still in trauma. I'm still in trauma. I'm still in severe trauma by these psychologists. And so I'm going to keep shouting this out on the rooftop. I hope one day I can make a video. This is what my wish is. I hope one day I can come on here on my channel and say to you, guess what, people? Justice has been served. The monster who beat my son is behind bars, and Dr. Richard Geis lost his license. That day, that video, that'll be a game changer in my life. That will be a game changer in my life. Okay, I said enough. Till next time.